Let's get this. What the? Trying to get this goddamn. There we go. Oh my goodness. Good evening, Twitch. Happy Wednesday. And happy Wednesday evening if you're in Pacific time. It's fantastic to be with you tonight, and really excited about tonight's ground school and sim. And for those of you that are new to the channel, maybe tuning in tonight and that are new, or that are so you're not getting. I want to make sure you're not getting the fan. For those of you that are tuning in tonight, or maybe in the future, that you know that found this channel and are interested in expanding your aviation knowledge, appreciation for flight sim, maybe even a place to start on your own flight training path. Regardless of why you're here, or if you're new or not, my name's Philip, and I'm a certified flight instructor down in Los Angeles, California. And I am on a quest of sorts to bring aviation education to the Twitch streaming space, and having a really fun time doing that. Basically, bringing a first of all, ground school-ish type of sessions to the streams, followed usually by a session in the simulator that is applicable to it. And you'll have the opportunity to kind of ask questions, or if you're a subscriber and join the Discord, you're able to join the Discord community with the voice privileges in the Discord, and engage by asking questions, and from an actual instructor, and that can be really helpful when you're trying to get clarification on why something happened. Maybe you're on the sim in VATSIM, or you're using Pilot Edge, and you're kind of wondering why certain things happen. Then it's nice to have a source from a certificated instructor. And on top of that, I try and bring a motivational spin to it as an amputee pilot. And as an amputee pilot and flight instructor with a whole arm gone. You can read more about that in my About Me section on my About Me page on my Twitch. But try and bring a motivational spin to it, to flight instruction and to life in general, because this path of not only learning how to fly, learning about how students behave, how people learn how to do my job better and flight instruct better, but just the reintroduction and the relearning things in life after the spinal cord injury, reacclimating to life, has taught me a lot, and I try and share some of those ideas and lessons with people. So follow the channel if you feel so inclined. This ground school information on PowerPoint slides and are things that I put together myself. This education that I've paid for myself over a lot of time and money over the years, to be able to bring that to you, and it'd be helpful to I'd be really grateful to show some your appreciation by subscribing and helping keeping the channel going. So with that, I really appreciate it. Zach, it's going really well, man. Thanks again. Sorry about that. Sorry, a little delayed on the comments there. I'm doing really well, man. I'm really excited for tonight. We're going to be talking aircraft performance, and I downloaded the working titles CJ4 from last night. I was really bummed last night that we weren't able to do Portland to. Why is that name impossible for me to remember? Oh yeah, and by the way, I am wearing my a cat shirt T-shirt, or a cat party T-shirt. I always forget that. I always forget to introduce the T-shirt as well. And I have many shirts, silly shirts on the way, dude. I bought like 6 cat shirts, different silly cat shirts. So it should be really good. We were talking about that last night, actually. Really excited though. I got the from Portland to Seattle. Got the working class CJ4 ready to go for that flight tonight, and I think it'd be perfect to actually. I kind of miss the jet a lot, and kind of miss it a lot. How do you kind of something a lot? But I do miss the jet a lot, and We've been in GA for some time now, which I think is awesome, and I think a lot of people do enjoy it. I know I certainly do. I love hand flying it, and like I my skills get rusty actually if I don't do that. But it's been a little while since we've flown in the jet. I think it's a quick flight over to Seattle from Portland, and then maybe we get in the 172 like after that or something, and we do some like local flying. But performance wise, I think it would still be super applicable, super relevant. Like whether it's a 172 or a citation. We're gonna be going up into the flight levels where the air is really thin, and so we'll be able to see sort of like why we will have talked about why there is such a difference between true airspeed and indicated airspeed, for example, as a performance concern. Climb performance and fuel economy and stuff like that's not really as in your face as prominent as it is when you're cross countrying in like a 172 and you don't lean, and you got the fuel flow gauge right there or something like that. So I figure up in the flight levels with the true airspeed difference, or when we're on the ground and we program the V speeds, it'll be interesting to see how those V speeds change with the inputted temperature. You in the FMC, you can actually input that temperature so it spits those V speeds out. And so what I was thinking is like that'd be really interesting to just kind of back out see what standard temperature is, and then you go higher than standard and see like what how those speed we will know why those speeds increase. So that'd be kind of interesting. And then either we can fly around locally in a 172. We'll kind of see at what time it is at that time. That might actually be all that we have time for, but I'd like to do some local flying too on top of that. So, Chris Steve, welcome, and Beardsley, welcome. Ground school-ish. If there's something more ground school than what Phil does, I'm not sure I want to... If there's something more ground school than what Phil does, I'm not sure I want to participate. You are awesome. You guys are awesome. Hey, do you guys know? So one of the things that I noticed I've been researching. Vox, what's going on, man? Hey, how are you tonight? Welcome. Do you guys know? I've been researching, not really researching, but I've been with these new followers that are coming. And I look at other people's channels and I listen to them. I see how they kind of handle affiliate stuff, and one of the things that I'm seeing is Zach, we were talking about emotes yesterday, but one other thing I was seeing is sounds. I don't know if they're alerts, but basically sounds that you can like key in. That we get to do raids now. Yes, in fact, I did forget that last night. I wanted to raid everybody that was in here. I wanted to raid one of my favorite channels on Twitch, which is Riff Tracks. It's the guys that do Mystery Science Theater, and they have their own like channel that's apart from Mystery Science Theater, which also is a channel on Twitch. But Riff Tracks is amazing, so I wanted to send everybody over there, but I forgot. So hopefully I can remember tonight, especially if I get rated again and we get some people in here. You said the sound alerts are super easy. Most everybody uses Streamlabs, so that's what I use. Basically, the reason why I want to ask is because like my shirt is, I call this shirt Cat Party, right? It's Insane Cat Party. They're riding sharks. They're like the little guy right there on the side has a drink, So what I want to do is grab a audio clip from YouTube from kind of a fringe show. I don't know if you guys know what Frisky Dingo is, but it's a show that I loved watching like years and years ago, and because it's not live streamer and more of a TV show. Big part of fun of raids of getting to meet a new community and get people to experience your community. That's a good point. We'll see who's on. Frisky Dingo's great. Archer's more polished though. Archer is the polished Frisky Dingo, for sure. But I just love, Killface, just the way that he acts, and I don't know. I kind of like the Frisky Dingo is more like on the Space Ghost timing. The cadence wise, it's more on like the Space Ghost side of the spectrum. And whereas Archer is like more, it's like quicker, you know, it's like more continuously, you know. I think part of the comedy, like with Space Ghost or you know, Frisky Dingo, are like pauses and like moments of silence between like what the fuck, like weird things that are said or something. But and it seems to be like right in that range, and I actually like that. I do love Archer. Archer is amazing. But yeah, so if you have an idea for an emote, I can make a quick draft while you stream tonight. Dude, an emote. Something that, like, I love the idea of a cat. Maybe a cat with like aviator shades, you know. Or maybe like a bird. Yeah, maybe like a bird with like a wing. Boom, dunzo. That's what I'm saying. So how do I use those? How do I use, like, Beardsley, like, I want that emote right there, you know? And I'm sorry to ask such a question that would require like some typing and stuff, but you know, maybe we can just get together. It's a special emote you had to participate in TwitchCon 2020 to use. Kiki, maybe it's global now. So probably send you a PNG file. You just upload it to your stream profile. Okay, cool. So let me see here. Let's see. Beardsley, special emote, everybody. Oh, I like the everybody one. I like the everybody one, actually. So that's cool, man. You know what I'll do is I'll like just watch a YouTube, like how to add. Maybe Glitch Cat is free to everybody though. So yeah, I'll watch on like how to actually do emotes. But here's what I'm getting at. The reason why I'm asking is because I want to. I could probably download this like YouTube and get the audio only, and this is what I want to be able to be. Oh god damn it, dude! This fucking dog. Hold on one second. It wasn't the emotes, it was the sounds that I was intrigued by, like the sound commands. You can actually, like, in a chat, you can actually input a command that would, like, make a sound, you know? I just really, I really wanted that. And I wasn't sure if that's something, like, special or weird that you had to do, or... But this is what I was looking for. Hold on. Let me make sure my my thing is turned up here. All right, here we go.
Cat party.
Or even just the beginning.
Cat party.
Log into Streamlabs with your Twitch account. Get the link to the web page. You need to add to OBS. Use streams for alerts. Love it. All right, cool. You can definitely do sound commands. Do I need to do the sound commands through Streamlabs, or is that something I can do like just? It sounds like that's what I do through Streamlabs and like Streamlabs to do that. Cause like, Cat Party, dude. Like I'm wearing a shirt that says Cat Party, but I don't have an audio command for people to chime in Cat Party. You can do sound commands a lot of ways, but I'd start with Streamlabs. Let's do it, dude. That sounds awesome, man. I really appreciate your guys' help. Like I said, I haven't really been doing this long at all, and but I do want to learn. I want to keep getting, having my the presentation be like more and more interesting, and that's honestly a great sub alert sound. Oh, that's true. Because it's only like 10 seconds long. And I could even cut that down. Like if I downloaded it and if it was just Cat Party and just that. I could download it as like an MP3, go into my into a mixer and like just pull import that file that I downloaded into the media, like in this editor, cut that the meows off, and then just have like a 5-second, you know, cat party, and then boom, that's it. So I really like that, dude. I'm gonna make a note of that. I'm doing that. I'm fucking doing that, dude. I do have sound alerts, but I'm gonna say cat party. Cat party. Sub. I'm just gonna say sound alert, and I'll assign it whatever. I agree with you though. I think as more people like chime in, because I'm on a Discord with CDL and some of the other Microsoft Flight Sim like streamers, and like, you know, we try and we're gonna try and coordinate each other's times to like reinforce each other, and so, you know, we'll like raid each other and stuff. And there are a few folks out there that don't mind raiding me, and you know, with subs and everything, I think coming more readily, like I want something cool, you know. Right now I have a pretty cool one. Like I like the 8-bit Link from Zelda, you know, that kind of moves and stuff. I really like that. But yeah, damn, that would be awesome to have. And I love the zombie, like for the follow and stuff, but I don't know, you know, like I'm open to growing and doing different things. So anyway, thanks again, you guys, for the suggestions. And let's get to the lesson today. So tonight we're talking about aircraft performance, and it's not that long of a lecture. It's not like clearances or anything like that, but I mean, it is kind of involved, and it's just an interesting thing. And like I say every session, you know, like whether you're a pilot or not in real life, if you flight sim at all, performance is something that does concern you. Like this lecture is for you, whether you're IFR or VFR or in pilot in real life or an aircraft controller. It doesn't matter, you know. We need to know the ways that the changes to mainly the density of the air around us, how changes to the air density affect the performance of the airplane. We need to know that, because by understanding performance, it allows us to make that go or no-go decision a lot better. And so now the other thing too is these slides, like I mentioned before, I made them all myself, but performance, aerodynamics, airport operations, these were all things that I made years and years and years ago. And matter of fact, they're actually overdue for a modernization and like a facelift, but they'll do the job for now. But the thing is like I was working at the time with some slides that I had sent to me from Embry-Riddle, and I started modifying these slides on my own to kind of experiment with storytelling and you know, storyboarding. And so that's why what you see here is the Embry-Riddle thing up at the, actually you can't even really see that, but up at the top, see it says Embry-Riddle right there. I'm actually just going to leave that right there then, because none of this stuff is from Embry-Riddle. This is all stuff that I have definitely made, but this backdrop just needs to be done, because as you can see, it's like white. You know, that watermark right there is kind of like, oh, these are from Embry-Riddle. It's like, no, you know, which it wouldn't hurt, but I just don't want any false, you know, like branding or whatever. And it's like, whoa, I thought you said that you made these yourself, and yet we're like subscribing or something. So I did make all of these. This is not from Embry-Riddle. The watermark is from a previous set of slides that in the very beginning I altered, that I have kept none of it, you know, through the modern like days. So that's why that says that. But I thought we were gonna go somewhere else with performance. Like I was thinking about how a 180 horsepower Cessna 172 feels very different than a 180 horsepower RV6 I've been in. Yeah, so thrust to weight ratio absolutely is different. You know, you slap like a 260 horsepower engine on like a Pitts. Yeah, you're going to be moving around a lot. But no, we're talking about performance from like a just like a more conventional standpoint, when we're talking about performance, we're talking about the things that affect takeoff and landing roll, for example. And to your point, like the same size engine on a lighter body, on a lighter fuselage, like that takeoff and landing performance will be better. You know what I mean? It will have better climb performance, but and so to an extent, you can definitely apply, like I said, in the sim, we're going in the citation. So, and we're going to see how all of these factors affect all airplanes, no matter what type of airplane it is. But just keeping things kind of simple and keeping a constant rather than looking at two different airplanes with the same engine, for example. Really just what is performance? How is the aircraft affected by the air around it? And then, we'll look into a 172 and look at performance data. What kind of data is available to us? How do we use this tabulated information to, see like what's what, you know what I mean? And just keeping it super simple. So it's been interesting switching to a plane with constant speed prop and seeing manifold pressure creep down as you climb. The air density decreases. That's exactly it, right? That's one of the things we're going to talk about, the standard atmosphere tonight, as well as the standard rate at which the atmospheric pressure decreases with altitude. Atmospheric density, density decreases with altitude, but pressure also decreases with altitude, measured in terms of inches of mercury in our case. There are lots of different ways of measuring pressure, though. Pascals, hectopascals, or atmospheres, or pounds per square inch, PSI, inches of mercury. So yeah, there are lots of different ways of measuring pressure, what even is pressure, But it is interesting, and so you got to keep putting an inch in, right, to maintain 25 inches or whatever on your climb out, if you're climbing out at 25 inches, because I think you said it's a turbo, right? So, depending on what type of turbo it is, if it's a turbo normalized, then, you're doing what you can to kind of just keep it at 29 inches or 28 inches, or, I like to kind of climb at a very chill 25 or 26 inches, maybe 27, 26 or something like that. And then, you're dialing the prop back to, top of the green arc, whatever that is, 2250 or 2300 or something like that. But, and so, it is interesting, and as you climb up every 1,000 feet, the pressure decreases 1 inch of mercury per 1,000 feet. You got to keep putting more throttle in until you got no more throttle. And then what the turbo does is there's a stop, and then you can push it a little bit. There's a little more travel left to go after the stop. And so when you hit that stop and you start pushing it into that new little like reserve amount of travel that's left, what you're doing is you're opening a gate. You're opening a little flap, a little valve in the exhaust manifold that redirects all that, well, not all of it, but a lot of that, a varying amount of exhaust gas to a fan that's turning a compressor that's sucking in more air and artificially jacking up that. As that fan sucks in more air, it's jacking up the pressure inside that intake manifold. And so that is what a turbo effectively does. And so what that does is if the turbo restores normal, pressure, sea level pressure in the intake manifold, the engine combustion wise does not know the difference whether it's at 3,000 feet or 2,000 feet or 12,000 feet or 18,000 feet. It doesn't know the difference. Or it wouldn't be that at 18. It wouldn't be sea level at 18, but it doesn't know the difference if it's at 2,000 feet or 15,000 feet. All the engine knows is how much air am I able to to like breathe in. And if the turbo allows that air to just keep coming, then it's just going to keep burning. That's all it knows. So it is interesting. If we get to maximum altitude in this lecture, I'm curious about learning if it's illegal to push your plane to max altitude. I think no. No, it is not. It is not illegal. You just don't want to be doing that IFR, because if you are unable to climb 500 feet a minute, it's a requirement that you let ATC know. But yeah, dude, there's absolutely nothing wrong with, getting to max altitude in your airplane, assuming that you're equipped for it. You know what I mean? If your max altitude is in alpha, you better be instrument rated, and you better be on an IFR flight plan and instrument current, be able to be PIC under IFR and all that stuff. If you're going up, that you better have oxygen, you know. So yeah, just in terms of that regard, yeah, assuming all other things are in compliance, yeah, it's not illegal just to go see though. I don't have my high performance endorsement, but I would have expected that you could use a turbo to get to a greater than sea level pressure with a turbo. It depends on what type of turbo it is, apparently. I don't have like a ton of turbo experience, but I do know that I flew a 182 turbo normalized, and it was ill-advised to go greater than sea level pressure. That for some reason and I don't know if that was a system like restraint, or if that was just like something for maintenance wise the school didn't allow you to do. But my understanding is turbo normalized means that you are not allowed to jack up that pressure greater than sea level pressure, whereas some systems it's just like, dude, all in, and like you could jack it up to, you know, 31 inches or whatever, definitely greater than sea level. So kind of depends on what type of turbo that you're working with. Okay, so with that, let's get into performance. Cat potty. Meow, meow, meow. Okay. So why do we care? Gotcha. Don't use war emergency power on any airplane you own. Yeah. Why do we care about knowing performance? Because knowing performance gives us predictive power over what the airplane's going to do, and that's how we stay ahead of the process. You know, this go no go decision will often be made based on your ability to perform. You know, for the aircraft to perform. For example, like if you're IFR and you're departing on a instrument departure, right? Instrument departure procedures, they will often require, well, first of all, all of them require a minimum of some minimum performance. That statement is correct. At all departure procedures require some type of minimum climb performance. Now, if that climb performance is unspecified, that is assumed that it's you will need to climb at a minimum of 200 feet per nautical mile, which, and whatever climb rate that is, it depends on what type of airplane you're doing and how fast you're flying. But 200 feet per nautical mile is pretty benign a lot of the time. Some departure procedures are greater than that's the standard climb gradient for instrument departure procedures. A non-standard climb gradient could be anything 325 feet per nautical mile, or maybe I've seen 400 feet per nautical mile. I've seen definitely more. So, you know, that your inability, like if a departure procedure requires, you know, 370 feet per nautical mile all the way to 3,000 feet, and you look at your performance charts in your POH in Section 5 and you cannot comply with that, you're not doing that departure procedure. You got to figure out another runway, maybe you could pick a different runway, assuming that the winds allow for it. You pick a different runway that, you know, maybe is pointed in a different direction away from terrain and obstacles, and then you're going to have like a lower required climb performance for that particular departure, you know. If it's too warm outside, so that would be a go no go decision IFR wise. VFR wise, just regular performance wise, like if you're too heavy, if you're heavy and it's too warm outside, you look at your takeoff roll and you see that the distance that's going to take you to leave the ground or clear 50-foot obstacles, that's in that data. If that data tells you that you're going to need a certain amount of distance to clear a 50-foot obstacle, and the amount of distance that, or like let's say that you are going to need like, let's say that you're going to need 2,500 feet or like 2,000 feet to leave the ground, right? It's a really high density altitude. You're heavy, kind of an underpowered airplane. It's going to take 2,000 feet of runway to leave the ground. And if you look at that and you look at a runway that's 2,700 feet long or 3,000 feet long, and you need that's 2/3 of the runway that you're going to need to just leave the ground, that's going to be a question, like, are you going to go or not? That's best case scenario, 2,000 feet. So it's kind of like, go, no go decision. We'll be talking about factors affecting the aircraft performance, and what are the actual flight characteristics that are affected. We'll be looking at the standard atmosphere and some of these things that we were already talking about, the pressure lapse rate, the rate that the pressure decreases with altitude, the rate that temperature decreases with altitude as well. And then we'll be looking at some performance data we'll just pull up a POH in Adobe or something and look at it. We'll hop in the citation, start it up, do a departure out of there to from Portland to Seattle. So first of all, the factors affecting aircraft performance. Before we talk about how aircraft or air density affects lift, thrust, power, we can't talk about that without just brushing up on like what even is density, what is temperature. So what density is the amount of stuff in a certain space. These are examples of different phases, different organization, or like a different these solids, liquids, and gases. The thing that separates them is the atoms or the molecules are packed in differently. They're ordered. They have different types of order. Or in gas, they really no order at all. But solids have a certain type of ordering. And all these atoms and molecules in this ordering are like really packed in there. Liquid to a lesser extent, but still really packed in. And then gas, everything's just flying all over the place. Of course, density could be different within solids or within different liquids or within different gases, different amounts of them. But the idea is like, certain amount of stuff in a space is what, density is. So what is pressure? In short, pressure is collisions. That's what's going on with pressure. Pressure is the force that is applied to an area as these particles are bouncing around. CD, what's going on, dude? Good to see you, man. Hey, I downloaded that working title CJ4 from yesterday. It's going to be really awesome. I'm really, really stoked. And I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be cool looking at performance in the CJ4. I think it's going to be really nice. So what is pressure? Pressure is the force that's applied when these collisions occur. So the more collisions that are occurring, for whatever those reasons might be, the more collisions that you have, the higher the pressure. Right? So like, let's think about this picture right here where they're like adding air to this flat tire. The pressure increases because what happens is presidential. What's going on? Hey, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Welcome. What's happening with pressure is as we add air to that tire, what we're doing is we're adding more air molecules to the fixed volume of that tire. And as more air molecules get introduced to that fixed, relatively fixed volume, there are more collisions on average than there were before. There are more air molecules in there that are colliding more frequently with the edges of that tire. And that force that each of those particles are exerting on the edges of on the inner edge of the tire, all those collisions amount to a certain type of pressure, right? So as we squeeze that volume down as well, pressure increases because for the volume, right? As that volume decreases, the number of those collisions actually increase. Whereas if this piston, let's say, opens up and that volume opens up, we have a decrease in pressure because with more space, these particles are allowed to bounce and float around freely before they collide with some edge, right? This is also why as temperature increases, pressure increases, because what temperature is not how hot or cold something is. To what temperature is the average kinetic energy of those particles. We have this cylinder, right, with all these particles bouncing around. Those particles are moving, and if something is in motion, it's got what's called kinetic energy. So the more kinetic energy that you have, the warmer something is, the higher the temperature actually is. So what it means to increase the temperature for the same volume, let's talk about this volume right here. If we were to light a flame under that, or put it in a hot room or whatever, and allow assuming that it's adiabatic and the energy can flow across this glass, and there can be heat exchanged and equalized, then as these particles heat up in here, they have more kinetic energy. They're flying around faster. And the thing is when you heat something up and you impart that that increase in kinetic energy to those particles, they're colliding with the edges with more force. And as that force increases, as that numerator of this fraction increases, more force for the same area means more pressure. Right, just like when we expanded that volume, right, that the denominator actually got larger and the overall pressure went down. So anyway, yeah. Okay, so what is air density? Air density. How is air density affected by altitude? So we know what density is, we know what temperature is, and we know what pressure is. How is air density affected by altitude? We've got for the same pressure setting, like let's say that we're talking about a body of air that has the same relative, we know what the pressure, what the altimeter setting is for this same area, and we start at sea level. We're looking at a lot of particles, a lot of bouncing around, a lot of collisions. There's a lot of air. Down here at sea level is where the density is the greatest all the time, or at least the closer the air is the densest, the closer you get to the ground, at least. You know what I mean? So then you go up to 12,000 feet, and you're looking at air with a lot less pressure, a lot less dense. It's less dense. How is air density affected by temperature? Right. This is how it's affected by altitude for the same, temperature, scale, pressure. If temperature and pressure are held, standard, right, then this is how it's affected by altitude. But how is the same altitude air affected by different temperatures? In both cases you're at 7,000 feet, but in both cases you're at 7,000 feet, but the higher the temperature, the more spread out these particles are, the lower the density. And we said, well, wait a minute, I thought you said that with the high temperature, there's more collisions, there's more bouncing around, there's more, with higher temperature you have higher energy. So I thought that with higher temperature there was higher pressure. That's true for a fixed volume system, right? Anytime that you're talking about a soda can or a tire or whatever, right? You're gonna, or an altimeter, okay? Anytime you got a fixed volume system, that's a temperature errors with the altimeter. We're not gonna talk about instruments tonight, but that's why you have that hot air increases in pressure inside an altimeter, not decreases in pressure. This is bringing up memories of the gas law, the universal, or the natural gas law. Exactly. Universal gas law. And that's true. That's exactly it. That is it, honestly. Right? Because the ideal gas law. Thank you. Right? To isolate pressure, you're going to divide both sides by volume, and as that volume increases, that denominator gets bigger, pressure goes down. Right? PV equals nRT is also part of the reason why we've got things like carburetor icing, and things like, it's very, very interesting. So yeah, ideal gas law. That's awesome, dude. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's the high temperature, high pressure situation is for a fixed volume system. Out here in the air, if the temperature goes up and those particles are allowed to just go off, and there is no bouncing around really, they're just more spread out. That is lower density. That air is allowed to expand. We know that hot air expands. We know that hot air expands and it rises, right? Hot air does rise, but only because colder, denser air scoops up underneath it and boosts it up. That's why hot air rises. It doesn't just rise. It's actually being lifted up. That's what buoyancy actually is. So that's how temperature and pressure are related in an open, non-fixed volume situation space. Apparently, I spent years saying PV equals nRT to Chris Steve without ever explaining what it meant. Well, you're just a silly goose, aren't you? All right, so factors affecting, we know what density is, we know what temperature is, we know what pressure is, and we understand the difference, like how density how air density behaves with higher and higher altitudes, and we also understand how temperature affects air density for a given altitude. Really quick, by the way, what we can say here, let's look at this picture, is very interesting, right? We're talking about high temperature, right? High temperature. Yeah, these are really, really important, actually, to say, to just a quick comment. If we are trying to fly this airplane, right, this airplane, to do what we need it to do, this airplane needs air. It needs air to move. The more air that we can move over these control surfaces, the more effective those control surfaces are. And whether that amount of air is coming from speed of the airplane or whether that's from dense air or both, the more air that we can move over those surfaces, the more effective those control surfaces are. And the better the airplane is doing what it's doing. So it's not doing a whole lot. It's not doing great at this density right here at 7,000 feet. It's awesome right here at this density. That's awesome. That's a sweet spot for that airplane. But what we can say here is, yeah, we're at 7,000 feet pressure altitude, let's say. But due to the high temperature, the higher than standard, whatever that means, higher than standard temperature, that air is not as thin. This is not as dense as it should be at 7,000 feet on a standard day. In this situation, it's higher temperature than standard. This is at lower temperature than standard. So what we're saying is the density of the air in this situation, get my cat toy out. Cat potty. Cat toy. Meow. This air right here is less dense than it would be at 7,000 feet, right? Maybe this air, due to the high temperature, maybe the density of this air is as dense as it would be at 10,000 feet on a standard day or 9,000 feet. Maybe due to the cold temperature, this air that's more dense than it normally is at 7,000 feet on a standard day, maybe this air is as dense as it would be at 5,000 feet on a standard day. And so this is what we say would be a 5,000 foot density altitude. We would say this is like a 9,000 foot density altitude. Right? Its density altitude is not the altitude the airplane thinks that it's at. The airplane doesn't think. We're pilots, and so what we say is that density altitude is the altitude. First of all, it is the altitude that the airplane's going to perform as if it were at on a standard day. But more to the point, density altitude is the density. It's the altitude that you would need to go to on a standard day to find air of that density. So again, if this is a 9,000 foot density altitude day, what we're saying is on this day, to find air of this density, you would need to go to 9,000 feet on a standard day, assuming temperature and pressure lapse rates are standard. I don't know if you guys drink kombucha. I am not a hippie. I do drink kombucha. Dude, I used to like so I drink this like GT Synergy kombucha. super, super good. I used to work for Reeds, and so this is like the... but do you call it booch? No, but I do call it mighty booch. If you get the reference. Yeah, and so, dude, this is my new favorite flavor, dude. Passionberry Bliss. Holy maracas, dude. Go get you some Passionberry Bliss, dude, from the market. Okay, so how the factors affecting aircraft performance. We know that less air means less performance, right? Control surface effectiveness increases with increasing airflow and decreases with decreasing airflow. When we decrease that airflow, by decreasing that air density, the airplane is able to do less of what it needs to do and what it's able to do. So the first thing that's affected by the thinning of this air, whatever that might be a result of, right? Thinning of the air is a result of either going higher or the air getting warmer or more moisture being in the air, whatever it might be, or kind of a combination of those. One of the things that's affected is thrust. So thrust, lift, and power is what's in drag, obviously. So the way that thrust is affected by decreases in air density is that with less air, there is proportionally less oxygen. That partial pressure of oxygen is there's partial pressure of oxygen in the air is what it is percentage-wise. So less air means less oxygen. And the thing about oxygen is when we burn fuel, we can only burn as much fuel as we have oxygen available. Oxygen is our limiting reagent, what's called a limiting reagent. It's the limiting factor in that chemical process, in that chemical process of combustion, which is why is less oxygen related to less power? Because what combustion is when you have the fuel and air mixture that has gone through the carburetor, right, and it's gone through the intake manifold, it's gone through the intake valve into the cylinder. It's ready to be burned. The compression stroke happens, right? That piston rises, that volume is squeezed down, the density goes up, and the pressure goes up, right? We know why. And the spark plug sparks. And what that does is it starts a chain reaction called combustion. And that chain reaction, what it is it's an initial, the spark is an initial, what's called an activation energy. It introduces what's called activation energy. And that activation energy is the energy required to sort of kickstart a series of the same kind of reaction that's in a chain. So that activation energy is just high enough energy to start breaking the bonds of the fuel. And what happens is as those hydrocarbons break apart, they break apart in the presence of oxygen. First of all, they want to break apart really badly, and what they really, really, really want to do is settle down energy state wise. They want to settle down with the oxygen that's nearby. They want to grab onto the oxygen, and then boom, their energy level is brought way down. They're all energetic in the fuel aspect, in the fuel molecules. They break apart right where that spark plug is. That spark plug is just enough energy to break those bonds. It's in the presence of oxygen. Those hydrocarbons grab onto the oxygen that's nearby. And the process of settling down from that high energy state to that super low energy state, they release that energy. And that energy is what combustion actually is. Now, those molecules in that area near the spark plug, right? That happens near the spark plug. They release all that energy. But guess what? That energy is also enough to break apart the molecule next to that one. So that molecule breaks apart, grabs onto the oxygen, and releases that energy. And guess what? That energy does it to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, all the way down the line in the whole little volume right there, in the really cramped space in the cylinder. And when the piston is up, and then that chain reaction goes pretty quickly, but it is not an explosion. That is a process. That is a chain reaction process, very controlled chain reaction process. And then together, that release of energy, an expansion of air, the expansion of the gases, demanding a higher volume or a greater volume, is what forces that piston down, and then boom, now we have torsion on the crankshaft. That's what combustion is. So if you don't have the oxygen for that fuel to grab onto, you got nothing going on. Fuel is not flammable without oxygen. So fuel is just fuel, you know. So that is why. So you can only burn as much fuel as you have oxygen available for those atoms, those molecules, to break apart and grab onto. This is why we lean our mixture up at altitude, because you're just less oxygen. Why are you going to throw all that fuel in there when you got, you know, a third or, you know, 2/3 of the oxygen or whatever it is, you know? So less oxygen means less power because there's less combustion. With less air molecules, there's also less air for the prop to push off of. So the thrust actually goes down as well. We need air to, you know, just like the wing needs air to generate lift, the propeller is an airfoil. And without air, remember, you take air away, control surface effectiveness goes away as well. So that is true for all airfoils, including the propeller. And without that, you don't have thrust. But this is a fundamental. This is like a fundamental difference between thrust and power. In aircraft that do not have a constant speed propeller, right, where it's 1-to-1, or maybe it's like a reduction gear and it's like 2-to-1 or whatever it is. But basically, it's a fixed ratio of, like, you know, as you decrease power, you decrease thrust, because necessarily with that decrease in power, you have a decrease in RPM, and with that decrease in RPM, you have like a decrease in thrust. But it's power and thrust are different. And then finally, thrust-wise, because you're not producing as much power or as much thrust, the distance required to leave the ground, that should be takeoff roll, actually. Oh shit. Okay, well that should say takeoff roll, but it is what it is. No, not as much thrust and not as much power means more distance to leave the ground, because it's going to take you longer to build up that indicated airspeed to lift off. I have an objection. I feel like it's because there's an asterisk that everything you're saying is for level flight. Okay. Specifically, if you have a positive angle of attack, is there some thrust vector? There is some thrust vector? So I have an objection. Yeah, the prop needs air. That's all I'm saying is there's less thrust because the prop needs air, and where there's less air, there's less, like, thrust is horizontal lift. It's lift that the airfoil is redirecting to the horizontal plane. So, you know, with less air for the same angle of attack, at least, that's why I said it's a fixed pitch propeller. You're thinking of a rocket burning fuel. Well, that's different. Right? That's totally different. So, yeah, with the rocket burning fuel, the thing about a rocket is it brings its oxygen with it. So the ratio is always perfect, and it's always the same. And with, you know, the thing about thrust with the rocket, and I'm not, you know, an engineer or whatever, but I am familiar with, you know, like, there are apparently the surrounding atmospheric pressure affects the amount of basically it affects the stress or something like that, like on the, it affects the jet coming out of the nozzle. And so like you got to like manage your thrust somehow for some reason, like on the way up, because atmospheric pressure will cause those gases to do something thermal stress wise, I think, to the nozzle. But it's totally different. Yeah. Did you have a question about thrust in thinner air? Because to your point, like, and the constant speed propeller was brought up earlier, like, that's why constant speed propellers are really sweet, because if this is the case, if you're going up into thin air, right, then it would be really nice if you could increase that angle of attack on the propeller and get more thrust out of it, you know, just like we would increase angle of attack on a wing to get more lift out of it. So that's why I say for the same angle of attack on the propeller in a constant speed propeller, you're just going to be producing less thrust. You're also going to be producing less lift for that exact same reason. So the longer distance, no thrust, no atmosphere, and I thought it was about the wings, not the prop. I was thinking that about no thrust with no atmosphere, and I thought it was about the wings. Yeah, I mean, no atmosphere means no thrust, no power, and no, assuming that it's not a rocket, and no lift. That's what no atmosphere means for sure. Because all of this stuff, the aerodynamics, like what we're talking about, is all dependent on the way that we move through the fluid. So if there's no fluid, if there's no medium, just like there's no sound in space, right? Because there's no medium to move through. And so, you know, longer takeoff runs. So yeah, it's going to take off. It's going to take longer to take off, not only because there's less power, not only because there's less thrust. So we're building up speed slower, but also it's just like it's going to take longer to get that amount of airflow over those surfaces for the wing to do what it needs to do. You're also going to be climbing more slowly. Less air means also less drag, which also sucks. Like, make no mistake about it. Ooh, that's good, right? We don't like drag. No, we really do like drag. We like drag when we're trying to slow down. We like drag if we're trying to slow down in an airplane or we're going to see Rocky Horror Picture Show. And, you know, if we're trying to slow down in this airplane, we need air resistance. You know, we need that air. It'd be really nice if that air was nice and dense to go through, so that it reduced the distance that we need to slow down. So as that air gets thinner, then you know, there's less air to help stop the airplane. So you're landing, the landing roll, the distance required to bring the airplane to a rest is increased. All right. Now here's the other thing. So how does the air density actually affect landing performance from an airspeed standpoint? So the thing is as the air gets thinner, for a given indicated airspeed, as air gets thinner, the difference between indicated and true increases. So we have different types of airspeed, and we discussed this in instruments, but you know, this isn't an instruments lecture, but you know, there are different types of airspeed that are of concern, right? You've got your indicated airspeed, which is the airspeed that's on the airspeed indicator, okay? And that is essentially an air molecule counter. Right, that's what this is, right? All these little air molecules right here are entering the pitot tube, allowing that diaphragm, which is essentially a balloon, but it's a diaphragm, to expand or contract. And then you've got, and so the more air molecules that can basically count and shove into this balloon, the more that balloon is going to expand because the pressure is increasing, right? There's more collisions, okay? With less air, there are less collisions going on, and that is, you know, well, not to get ahead of ourselves. So the point is the airspeed indicator is an air molecule counter. That's one type of airspeed, is the indicated airspeed. Calibrated airspeed is the airspeed, it's indicated airspeed corrected for the difference. This is in the POH, or sometimes, it's actually on Airspeed Indicators, but it's like typically in the POH, where the engineers, that the manufacturer actually says, okay, accounting for certain errors in maybe the positioning of the pitot tube at different angles of attack, or maybe the positioning of the static port, then the calibration based on correcting for those errors. If you're saying if your indicated airspeed is this, then your calibrated is this. If your indicated is this, then your calibrated is this. So calibrated is indicated taking those errors into account, those position errors. And then you have true airspeed. True airspeed is it's the airspeed that you are actually going through the air based on the atmospheric conditions around the airplane. It's more of a performance situation. It's more of a performance concern, where like a cruise performance, right? If we're gonna go cruise somewhere, if we're cruising up at 8,000 feet, and let's see here. Oh, I see. If we're cruising at 8,000 feet, you're going through thinner air, right? That air is thinner than down at sea level, so that there's less resistance, there's less air resistance. The thinner that air is as you go higher and higher toward the 8,000 feet, that difference between indicated and true increases. So true airspeed pertains to the speed that you're actually going through the air as a result of the atmosphere around the airplane. And then you have ground speed, which is the true airspeed corrected for like wind and like the way that the wind is moving the airplane, right? So what this picture is showing, let's see here. You said, I wish pictures like this would show accurate distances. There's no way that second figure is accurate with length. Yeah, I mean, it's a cartoon, but the truth is in the data that we're gonna look at. So yeah, Machado, I mean, yeah, he's great. He's great. So yeah, what are we looking at here? We're looking at the same airplane landing, going at the same indicated airspeed, right? The guys, the pilot here is 80 knots indicated. Where's my cat toy? Right here, he's 80 knots indicated. Right there, he's 80 knots indicated. But what's the difference? The difference is down at sea level, there's a lot more air to go through. And by the way, because the air isn't thin, there's not a big difference between what's indicated and what's true, the true airspeed. Whereas up at 10,000 feet, where it's really, this pilot's trying to land at an airport at 10,000 feet, density altitude, I'm assuming, right? Or pressure, I guess, on the same, on a standard day, who knows? Thin air means that there's a big difference between what's indicated and what's true. So indicated, this guy's also showing 80 knots indicated, but guess what? True through the air without wind, assuming no wind, 96 knots true. What that means is he's really coming down at 96 knots. He's not doing 80 knots true. He's doing 80 knots indicated, but he's really doing 90 knots over the ground, So we need to be aware of that. If we know we're coming in a hot place that's high, we need to really be not really really relaxed with where we put the airplane down. We need to be very judicious about our glide slope, our glide path, our descent path, so that we just get into ground effect and get on the ground ASAP. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna really be you're scooting. So the question is why? So we know about the airspeed indicator. It's a differential pressure instrument. Measures that difference in pressure actually between the total pressure, which is static plus extra. As we move through the air, all these extra air molecules are being rammed inside there and causing that balloon to expand. The difference between the total pressure entering the pitot tube and entering the diaphragm and expanding it, and the static air that's around the diaphragm. Static line, you can't really see it, but it's like a static line is behind the balloon there. And there's the static air that's always present in the casing surrounding the diaphragm. So the airspeed indicator showing greater or lesser airspeeds are these two pressures duking it out all the time. And as we increase our speed, our forwards, as we increase our forward speed, excuse me, the pitot tube is actually winning that battle, and it's expanding out into against the static air. But as we slow down and that the number of those molecules goes down, that counter, it's counting less and less molecules. That airspeed goes down because this is allowed to contract under the pressure of the static air. There's less air in here winning. So the reason why true airspeed increases with altitude, with density altitude, is because since a given indicated airspeed is basically the diaphragm counting these air molecules, right? And they're saying, what this is saying is, oh yeah, if you're doing 80 knots, you must have this many number of air molecules, basically, right? 80 knots equals this much air. So what's happening with true airspeed is that air thins. There's less air, right? The only way for the airplane to continue to measure 80 knots is if you are going faster. The only way for there to be the same amount of air going into this pitot tube that would register as 80 knots, as that air gets more and more taken away or thins out, you got to go faster for that. The faster you go, the more you can keep that. And it's not like something you're actively doing, but what you're doing is by maintaining an indicated airspeed, you're and the higher you go, the greater your true airspeed actually is. And that is how you're able to hold an indicated airspeed up there. We're going to see a big, exaggerated example of this when we actually get into this citation, where, I think this thing tops out at 300 or 280 indicated. I forget what it is, but it's like 300, I think, or 290 or 280. But up in the flight levels, when we're doing 290 true, or I'm sorry, 290 indicated, or 250 indicated, we will be doing like 450 knots true, or 420 knots true. Something crazy, cray speeds. You're looking at your airspeed indicator and you're going, oh my God, 250 knots, we'll never get there. Oh my God, dude. No, look at your true airspeed, or better yet, look at your ground speed, because chances are you're probably going to have some wind up there, maybe a headwind, maybe a tailwind, who knows, but, so it's really about true airspeed. Let's see here. I didn't know this is how a pitot tube worked. Does this design make it highly responsive to changes in airspeed? Do you know the lag? Yeah, there's not a big lag. There's it's fairly accurate. Like, as you slow down and that airflow is less in the pitot tube, then there's less pressure, allowing that to stay inflated, so to speak. Yeah, there's not a lag really in the. I mean, there is some, but it's not like, when I think lag, I think of VSI, or I think of like the compass, the magnetic compass errors or something. The fact is like, if you chop the power to idle and you're really fast, right? And you chop the power to idle, it's gonna take a second, I guess, to start, but pretty much right away, like, you start seeing airspeed decrease. And that's with an analog airspeed indicator. Like, if you talk about something like with the air data computer, like in an advanced system where that air pressure is being sent from the pitot tube is being sent to a computer, that you're absolutely going to see a right away change, because that stuff is super, super sensitive. So, I think it's just normal, just dealing with an analog situation is, so something less kind of necessary, but I mean kind of interesting, is we see that difference between indicated and true increase 2%. Generally, it's 2% per 1,000 feet. So we've done a little calculation here that Both of these airplanes are indicating 80 knots. One's at sea level, one's at 12,000 feet. You got 2% per thousand. That's 24%, right? So 80 knots times 24 is 19.2 plus 80. 19.2 on top of 80 is almost 100 knots of true airspeed. So that's kind of crazy. I mean, that's your downwind speed in a 172. Your downwind, or unless you're, a little more confident. But when you're first learning about the 172, it's 80, 70, and 60, right? Or 65 actually, but so 80 knots. I mean, to be doing almost 100 knots downwind, that's, we need to be cognizant of that. You're gonna be doing 80 knots. Now, here's the other thing: is you don't fly in terms of your stall speeds, or in terms of your flap extend speed, in terms of your normal operating range, your caution range. Those indicated airspeeds, right? Flap, the dirty stall speed, flap operating speed. Those indicated airspeeds on the airspeed indicator. Those color coded markings are the indicated. You fly the indicated airspeeds. You're not thinking like, oh, I need to be 80 knots, so I'm gonna go 80 knots true, right? No. You fly 80 knots indicated. You fly 80 knots indicated. And you deal with true airspeed being greater, because the airplane will stall at the bottom of the white arc or at the bottom of the green arc, depending on how the airplane's configured. It will, will hypothetically like damage those flaps if you apply those flaps not in accordance with the POH, right? So, and those markings are based on indicated airspeed. So do not fly the airplane in terms of true. Fly in terms of indicated. Cool. All right, we don't need a break. The atmosphere, what is it? All right, we've got temperature and pressure. Standard temperature and standard pressure in the atmosphere. Standard temperature is 15 Celsius. Standard pressure is 29.92. We know what pressure is. We talked about that. We said that the rate that the temperature decreases with altitude is a standard rate that it does. That is 2 degrees per 1,000 feet. 2 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet when it's a standard temperature lapse rate. We talk a little bit more about that, the temperature lapse rate and non-standard temperature lapse rates with weather theory. That's a way to understand or quantify atmospheric stability, actually. That the quicker that air cools with altitude, the more stable the air actually is. The slower that it cools with altitude, the more unstable it is, the more vertical development is needed to cause that air to no longer be buoyant. So we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, an inch of mercury per 1,000 feet is also, something that we talked about as the pressure goes down per 1,000 feet. Getting more concerned about lapse rate, temperature lapse rate, I'm assuming. Yeah, icing season approaches here and trying to see how much IMC time we can squeeze in. You got to know where that freezing level's at, dude. Caution, you know what I mean? It's not... Yeah, it's if that IMC is coming because of really cold temperatures, that's something else, You got to watch those cold fronts. Okay. Yep, we talked about density altitude already. Pressure altitude, yeah. So, pressure altitude is, yes, it's the altitude that you can read when you set the altimeter to 29.92, but more specifically, it's your altitude with respect to the standard plane, the standard datum plane of 29.92 inches of mercury. That as an international community, we have agreed like that is our pressure altitude standard. And so really what pressure altitude is, you could find your pressure altitude by the altimeter. How do you find your pressure altitude if you're not sitting in front of an altimeter then? You find the pressure altitude by looking at the altimeter setting. So that altimeter setting that they give you, that maybe you listen to on an ATIS or whatever. That is a correction to it's a calibration, right? It's a calibration or correction to the altimeter that you're going to apply to as a result of non-standard pressure in the area. And what that calibration is going to do is it's going to cause that diaphragm that's inside the altimeter to be at the proper starting position as we climb or descend or whatever. That's why we don't need to adjust the altimeter. I mean, we do in flight, but it's not like we adjust it because we're climbing. We adjust it in flight because we've traveled far enough to be in an area of slightly different pressure. That's why we do it, right? We don't adjust it as we climb. We are able to climb with the current altimeter setting. So what you do is you take that altimeter setting, you take the difference between the non-negative difference between that altimeter setting and the and 2992. Remember we said it's 1 inch. Let's do this together. We did this before. Okay. Okay. Okie dokie. So finding pressure altitude with an altimeter setting, okay? So we come here and we go to Long Beach. And what's the weather at Long Beach? We've got an altimeter setting apparently of 3007. So to find our pressure altitude, we do pressure altitude 3007 to minus 2992. We got a difference of 15. Right? Now remember what we said is the standard lapse rate for pressure is 1 inch of mercury per 1,000 feet. So right here, thousands, right? Hundreds, tens. That 1 inch, we took the difference, right, of these whole numbers, and it's a difference of 0.15. It's 1 inch per 1,000 feet. So we take 15. We move this thing over 3 times 1,000. Right, 1, 2, 3. 150. And we apply the field elevation to this calculation as well. That's 60 feet at Long Beach. So we're looking at 210. 210 pressure altitude. So why is that useful? Why is that useful to know, based on the altimeter setting, what our pressure altitude is? Because what density altitude is pressure altitude corrected for non-standard temperature. So we go to the E6B somewhere. Why is it not there? I know it was right there, but not the one that I want. Dude, and of course it isn't working right now because it's a little bastard. All right, so we're just going to use this one. And we'll go to, let's see. Oh, weather. Yeah. Pressure and density altitude. So indicated altitude, let's see here. Right, it's 60 feet field elevation, and then it's 3007, I think it was. Whoa. And let's see here. Temperature was what? Goober, it's going great, man. Thanks. Temperature was what? Hold on, wait 1 second. Two one. This thing is not cooperating. Condition here in Mobile, IFR tornado warning. Whoa, no way! That's crazy, man. Why is this not working? Well, this thing's being a pain, of course. I like the other one. I just don't know why it doesn't work. This, dang. Yeah. Alright. Well, in any event, let's see if maybe we can see here. Hold on. Altimeter. Definitely field elevation of 60. Normally they have like a pressure altitude right here, but apparently not. Let's see if I can go to, hold on. Yeah. Well, there's your density altitude right there. But yeah, you just take your difference in your altimeter setting and 2992 times 1,000 and then add the field elevation. But that's kind of interesting. So this is like, it's like warmer than standard right now. And so instead of 60 feet above sea level, this is density. The air is as thin as it would be at 700 feet. I mean, it's not a huge difference, but you know, it's good to know. I'm gonna have to like find that for you guys. Maybe it's here, details, and maybe here. Weird. Basically, I'm trying to look for the pressure altitude. Normally, I know that it would be on here somewhere just to validate, but anyway, that's okay. So anyway, yeah, that is pressure altitude, and that's how we find it with an altimeter setting. Take the difference, multiply by 1,000, because we know that there's an inch for every of there's 1 inch for every of mercury for every 1,000 feet. So if we take the difference in inches of mercury, right, we're going to multiply by 1,000, and then add the field elevation to that. Once we know our pressure altitude, we could either, with a chart like this, you're probably not going to see a chart like this at any other point other than your knowledge test, but you're going to open up, use your E6B, and find it that way. But once you have your density, your pressure altitude, you can find your density altitude in the chart like this, or in the E6B, and basically by applying the non-standard temperature condition to that pressure altitude, and then reading the density altitude. So really important to know like what your density altitude is. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to some examples in the POH. We can actually look at these examples here, and then we'll actually hop in the CJ4. So looking at this 172 Cessna, we can see here that the rate, let's look at what's going on with the rate of climb for a given pressure altitude as temperature increases. Climb performance decreases. Actually, this also is a good place. I think I accidentally clicked over this. This is a takeoff distance. These are takeoff distances, and what we're looking at here is max weight. You have to like know your conditions. That's the first thing. Know the conditions that we're talking about. We're talking about flat, this short field type takeoff at max weight for this model. Flaps 10, 0 wind. Let's see how this thing is affected. Ooh. Awesome. So for a given pressure altitude, like we over here at 2,400 feet, pressure altitude, let's say sea level, when it's 0 Celsius outside, we see that the ground roll, the distance to actually leave the ground, just under 800 feet, just under 1,500 feet to clear 50-foot obstacles. But whereas you needed just under 800 feet at 0 Celsius, why is that? Why is the number at 0 Celsius better than the number at 10? And why is that better than the number at 20? Why is that number better than the number at 30? And so on. Because as that air temperature increases, that air gets thinner. It's got less air to work with. It needs more room to take off, right? That's for a given pressure altitude. As we go higher up in altitude for a given temperature, that's the case as well, right? As we go higher up in altitude for a given temperature, yeah, that performance goes down. We see that here in the data. Same thing in the rate of climb. For a given pressure altitude, like let's say that we're going to climb, we're going to start at sea level and we're going to climb up to 6,000 feet. We're starting here at sea level all the way up to 6. It's going to be, it's going to, our climb performance, if it's this cold outside, we're looking at 575, right? Just under 6, like high 5s. But then it starts dropping off. And at a certain point, 10,000 feet, if it's really warm outside, I mean, you're not climbing at all. That climb rate right here, 2, 3, 1, 2, 300 feet per minute, that being your maximum climb rate, that doesn't feel good at all. And that's why when you're climbing up into the mountains and you're climbing up to 9,500 or whatever, it takes you some time. It might take you 30, 40 minutes to get up there. Because, yeah, you're going to start off here at sea level with with awesome climb performance, 700 feet per minute or whatever, but you're not going to be holding 700 feet per minute all the way up. Yeah, we have some performance specs here. Awesome. Crosswind component. This is an important chart when we're talking about the data that's in a POH and things that are affecting performance. Dude, the wind is a major factor, of course, but I mean, in terms of a limitation, the wind, you might not know that there are manufactured maximum demonstrated crosswind components to these winds that these aircraft were tested to these limits, and beyond these crosswind component limits, they were not certified to maintain directional control under those types of winds. So it's very important that for your aircraft, like what is the manufacturer's maximum crosswind component for that airplane, not to go out when it's more than that crosswind component. That's not to say that you couldn't fly it if it was greater than that, but you're now all of a sudden in a region in a regime of the characteristics, the flight characteristics of this airplane that are not defined. It is not a guarantee that you will have the skills or the authority, the control surface authority, to maintain directional control over that aircraft. So don't go test it, but it's not like the plane's going to fall apart if it, but it's just understand that. The way that we use this chart, maybe some of you might know, but what we're going to do is we're going to take the difference between the angular difference between the runway and where the wind is coming from. So like, let's say it's we're taking off runway 26, right? Runway 26. And we have wind coming from 290. So we have wind coming from 290. We're taking off 26. That's 260. We have a 30-degree difference between 26 and 29, right? So what we're going to do is go to the 30 degrees difference here. Let me see here. There's a 30-degree difference here. And then you're just going to follow that 30-degree line all the way down to the applicable arc here. These arcs are representative of the actual wind speed. So here's your 20 knots, 30 knots, 40 knots. Let's say that wind was 15 knots, right? Coming from, it's 290 at let's just say 290 at 10. 290 at 10. So that's a 30-degree difference. We come down to 10. Bam, right there. And then we drop down to the crosswind component. And that's just over 5-degree crosswind component. Right? So it's important to know if your aircraft has a maximum crosswind component, let's say, of 15 knots. Yeah, it's important to know, like, how high up can you go for the various angles. Like, you know, if it's 15 knots and the angle is, let's say, 30 degrees, or yeah, if it's 15 knots crosswind, you're over here at 15 knots, right, between 10 and 20. Crosswind components, a maximum demonstrated crosswind. There's 15. Go all the way up to 30. Right there. Oh, wait, I missed it. Sorry. Right there. So maximum, if it's a 30-degree angle, maximum wind speed from that direction is 30 knots. And anything more than that, you're looking at exceeding your maximum demonstrated crosswind component. So it's important to know, like, you know, to keep track of that. Same thing with landing. We looked at that. Okay. So that's performance. Let's hop in the CJ. Feel free to ask questions. All right, I'm gonna get my sim set up right here real quick. Oh, you know what? I think I misspoke, by the way, earlier. When I was talking about pressure altitude, it can definitely be negative. So when you're doing a calculation, you take it from 2992. So, like, for example, just really quick here, I just wanted to clarify something. Brick, what is going on? What is going on? Okay. Yeah, I definitely misspoke here. So hold on. Let me just redo this. You start with 29.92. And you subtract the altimeter setting. Sorry about that. I thought that was wrong. That sounded wrong. So right here we got minus 150. And then plus 60 is minus 90. Right? So that's the main takeaway. I had that backwards. Sorry about that. 29.92, and then subtract the altimeter setting from it, and then multiply by 1,000. We know why. Pressure decreases with 1 inch per 1,000 feet, and then add the field elevation there, 60 feet at Long Beach. Sorry about that. Main thing is that I caught it. I was like, some doesn't sound right. Hold on. Okay. So, really quick, I'm going to set up my sim, but I'm also going to make a quick snack. My girlfriend's on the way over, so I'm going to make a quick snack for her so something's ready for her when she gets here. Hold on one sec. The difference between pressure altitude and density altitude. So, pressure altitude is the altitude that it's your altitude above relative to the standard, what's called the standard datum plane, and that is relative to 29.92 inches of mercury. Like, where are you based on your altimeter setting? Like, where are you when you take that difference between 29.92 and what that altimeter setting is in your local area? You take that difference, 29.92 minus whatever the altimeter setting is, and you apply that altitude, the height above sea level that you are, right? Your elevation, whether you're 60 feet above sea level or if you're 3,000 feet above sea level, that is your height relative to that standard datum plane of 29.92 inches, given your altimeter setting for the area. That is what pressure altitude is. It's also the altitude that you read on your altimeter when you set 29.92. But density altitude is the altitude that is pressure altitude corrected for non-standard temperature. What density altitude is saying is, based on that pressure altitude, if you are warmer or colder than standard, the air around you is going to be of a certain density. And it's going to be, depending on how much you're deviated, the temperature is deviating from standard, it's going to either be more dense than standard or less dense than standard. If it's less dense than standard, what we're saying is it's so warm that thin air, that air is as thin as it would be at that higher altitude on a standard day. You know? So, if we're at a field elevation of 3,000 feet, on the ground, right? Maybe we're in the mountains or something, or, you know, Denver, right? Denver is like 5,000 foot above sea level. And then it's warmer outside. Let's say it's like 25 Celsius outside. Density altitude might be, you know, 9,000 feet. And so or, you know, 8,000 feet or something like that. So what they're saying is if the density altitude is 8,000 feet, then the air is as dense as you would have to go up to 9,000 feet on a standard day to find air of that density. And the plane's going to perform as if it were at that altitude on a standard day. Okay. Yeah, we'll just do this quick flight. The explanation of nice. Cool. The main thing that I want to point out, I'm gonna set up the sim as well. Well, I'm waiting to. Ooh, she said yes, please. Snack it is. I'll be right back, guys. You guys can hang out with Tangles. All right, guys, let's do it. Ooh. All right. So yeah, just a quick flight in the Citation out to what was it? Babe, why can I never remember the freaking name of that airport, dude? Portland, for God's sake, dude. Yeah, I was talking to you. I don't know why I can never remember Portland. No, I know the designator or the identifier. But even right now, like I'm saying Portland twice, I can feel it not locking in. God, why are you doing this? Portland. What's the airport called?
What's your boss's name?
Paul. Oh, or the other one. It's yeah, Patricia, dude. All right, guys. We gone up in the number of viewers in the room right now. With me gone, is that like a hint that I should take or what? Either that or maybe my girlfriend brought the others with her. In which case, I really appreciate you guys all rolling together. All right. You guys, so I'm really excited. Any of you guys familiar with the video game emulators? There was this Nintendo 64 emulator that I recently found, and I've been playing Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time on my dang PC. The first Zelda game that I've ever played. I didn't play Zelda actually on Game Boy, but first one I ever played was actually on N64, and then I played Majora's Mask, and then actually I don't think I've ever played Zelda on Game Boy. I recently got Link's Awakening on the Switch. Almost said Twitch. On the Switch, which is the modern version of that Game Boy game, you know, the original game, or I guess what, Nintendo? I forget, but anyway, yeah. So point is, dude, is I'm really excited for game nights doing classic like N64 games on this emulator that I got. Dude, my sister's playing Banjo-Kazooie right now. I'm so pumped. So pumped. All right, let's get track IR going. Cool. The one thing I do really like about using Track IR with Microsoft Flight Sim is you can just toggle it on or off. Like X-Plane, when you turn it off, it's like doesn't know what to do if you turn it back on. It's so silly. All right, and then Pilot Edge is going to be done in a separate client, and then we're going to go flight. You hyped for Reno Air Races in the sim? Oh my god, I'm so hyped for that, dude. It's gonna be so great. We're gonna be doing really awesome community things in Microsoft Flight Sim, you know, in our Twitch communities. Like, dude, it's gonna be so cool for all of us together. You know what I mean? That's what I'm really excited for. I'm really, really excited for how it's going to bring people together. I think it's going to look dope as hell, like, for sure. But, I mean, that's, like, a given. I think it will really, like, unite us. I think it'll make us one of the tightest communities, like, on Twitch, most likely. From different communities that I've seen. Whether it's Diablo or all different kinds of communities. And, like, there's some cool ones out there and stuff. But, dude, Flight Sim, that's what's up. And I think Air Races is they're really gonna bring that out. CD, you said hell yeah. Oh, I bet you're stoked for that. What does Air Race mean in this context? Time trials, something else? CD, you want to like speak to that? Actually, I don't have experience. CDL is a gentleman who's he's closely affiliated with Microsoft Flight Sim, and he recently was at the air races. I think like taking notes and stuff as like an affiliate there, you know, in how to incorporate it maybe or something. There will be 2 modes: single player time trials with an online leaderboard, badass, and head-to-head multiplayer. Up to 8 players simultaneously. Oh my freaking god! I can't wait for that. So, are you guys are you going to do? Sorry, CD, that's what I meant. Are you guys going to do like more aircraft as well? Like, are you going to be putting in a Mustang, the P-51 Mustang? Are you going to be doing more like a Christian Eagle, maybe? Some of these other ones that we see a lot of people competing in. I'm assuming that the air race is going to be its own package with like all the different aircraft that, you know, you can go to town on or something, right? Flight plan is going to be 6863. We're going to go PDX, SEA. Correct. There are 4 aircraft types coming. P-51, the T-6, the Albatross, and the Pitt Special. I love it, dude. I love it. Kuga, Craig, and the Hawks. Good, good. And we're going to be departing... Which way for the Hawks? We're going to be doing 16 right. The procedure is going to be... We said the ILS 16 right. Using Jeppesen, and then from we're gonna go from Griffey, I guess. All right, awesome. Oh my god, dude, I'm so pumped. I love you so much. I'll totally eat. It'd be like right there with you. If you buy the base package, which is minimum required to enjoy racing, you get 1 plane of each class. This costs $20. Dude, that's such a good deal. That's so cool. Ooh, we have some NOTAMs. 28 right, 28 left closed. Weird. And then I want to hide the... We also offer full collection, which contains 10 unique planes of each class. These are not just reskins or liveries, but actual different planes with different instruments and flight performance. 60 bucks. I am there. I don't know about you guys, but I am there for that. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. What do we got flight time wise? We've got 30 minutes once we can get this thing started. We're just going to take a quick break. I'm going to enjoy this snack, and then we're going to come back and see you guys here in a second. One sec. Dude, we just got raided, you guys. I'm just finishing up right now. Snacky is over, and I am off screen, but that's all good. I'll be right back. Thank you guys so much for the raid, and that was Floxtrot with the raid. Thank you so much. Hello, you guys. Just a couple more minutes, and we'll be ready to go. We're doing Portland to Seattle in the working title CJ4. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Quick flight, about 30-minute flight. 1 second. All right. Let's do it, folks. So thank you guys for your patience. I really appreciate it. I enjoy intermittent fasting, but kind of sucks sometimes, you know. So let's get going here. So I'm gonna get Pilot Edge up as well. Let's actually wait. We're gonna go some kind of rough conditions here. How's everybody doing tonight, by the way, in the chat? What's going on? It's Wednesday, we're going into Thursday. You guys like your guys' week treating you okay? Flight sim being good to you guys? What's the latest and greatest? Oh, I actually had a question, almost a poll question. So I've got when I go to the market, dude, I love getting berries, and my favorite berry is the blackberry, and got a nice little tray in the fridge waiting for me. Bleeman, thank you so much for the follow. All right. But I was curious, what do you guys like berries? And if so, what's your favorite kind, dude? You got strawberries. You got what do you guys like? All right, and then we got blackberry. You should check out its variants like the boysenberry or the marionberry. I have not. You've heard of marionberry?
Oh, yeah.
I have not. All right, I have not heard of marionberry. CD's gonna go classic with the strawberries. I like your style, sir. I like your style. Boysenberry, favorite syrup. So I'm kind of intrigued by what you're saying there, Beardsley.
Marionberry's a lot like a blackberry raspberry mixed together.
A marionberry is a blackberry raspberry mix?
I think.
Is it actually a hybrid? Are they cross whatever? Is that what a marionberry? Oh, I'm sorry.
I think.
Is that what a marionberry is? Is that like actually it's a genetically altered? Was it developed in a lab? You like strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries? That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. The marionberry is this is quoted, by the way.
Okay.
A marionberry is a cultivar of blackberry. I don't know what that is. Blackberry developed by the USDA ARS breeding program in cooperation with Oregon State University. A cross between a Chelhalem A chelhala cal.
Spell it. Spell it.
Oh, CHEHALEM.
I
Chehalem.
have no idea what that means.
Yo, whoever invented that word is not cool. And olali. It's a cross between a chelelem and an olali.
No clue.
No clue at all, dude. Varieties. It is the most common form of blackberry cultivated. I bet you didn't know that.
I didn't. But I know where I can get a bomb Marionberry pie that'll knock you over.
Really? I would love to be knocked over by a bon marinary. What it Mary
Say that 3 times fast.
marinary pie. Exactly. We got a layer. Let's get a layer there and then a layer here. We have altitude at. Yeah, let's do 13 up to 19. And I believe we're doing flight level 200, right? Flight level 200. Where were we at on the pilot on the yeah, so that was 20. Yeah, 200. Okay, cool. Do you know if the P-51 and Microsoft Flight Sim simulates the war emergency power? Dang, Beardsley's all about that tonight. Pilot Edge.
Don't run that guy over.
I know, this guy's really ballsy. Just being out in the front of the airplane like that. Do it, dude. Oops. Oops. Actually, all of that I was talking about was nonsense. 'Cause that's the thing about the salad. You can just keep going a lot of the time. Yeah. If that was all like, you're just fucking cute, dude. God damn you. Startup. No, we don't need a startup, but desktop shortcut. Yup.
You know what?
Sup.
When you're setting the weather, could you please use the word cumulus more often?
Oh, do I say that a lot?
No, you don't say it at all, and it's a cool word.
It is a cool word.
Talk about the
Do you think cumulus is a cool word, or cumulonimbus, which is cooler?
Ooh, the latter.
Cumulonimbus is cooler? Yeah, kind of like cumulonimbus. Do you guys have a favorite cloud? This is a pilot group, is it not? So I'm assuming at least some of you guys have a favorite cloud type. Look at CD, thinks he's so cool saying words like cirrostratus.
Ooh.
No, cirrostratus, they are really cool looking clouds. No, that's badass, bro. I'm gonna say 6863. And it is a I don't think this is the right code, but whatever. Lenticular is mine. That's cool that you said that. Virga, you said cumulus granite space. I don't know if there are too many people that live long enough to have cumulus granite be their favorite kind. Virga isn't a cloud, but I'm pretty into that these days. That's pretty cool, man. Virga. Yeah, lenticular if you want to give a hipster answer, or you're a glider pilot. I guess I'm a hipster. Lenticular is cool, dude.
I like that word.
Yeah, it makes me feel good about myself. Lenticular, the word.
Just say lenticular.
It feels good.
It does. Feels good?
What's up?
This steak.
I know, dude. I know. Why is this having some difficulty? Pilot Edge. Is it flight plan?
This was ridiculous.
Dude, right? Lenticular or hipster clouds because they're so rare, at least around these parts. Yeah, I like lenticular clouds. You probably never heard of them. Yeah, I was like, yeah, exactly. You probably never heard of them, so it's like whatever, but that's my favorite, so deal with it. That's so funny. I forget how to yeah, damn. Okay. I'm gonna go. Shit, you guys. Today I learned pilots of powered aircraft tend to avoid flying near lenticular clouds because of the turbulence and sinking air of the rotor generated in the trailing edge of these clouds, but glider pilots actively seek them out in order to climb in upward moving air at the leading edge. Wow, some badasses. You guys, oh, you know what? I think I need to not do this. I think I need to go to the desktop. Let's see here. I think I'm onto something here. Pilot Edge. Huh. Why is this being weird, you guys? Yeah, it's not a crash, but I mean, oh, I see you're saying crash. This is fine. Everything's fine. Pilot Edge. CD, if you could help a guy out, actually. Let me see. Actually, I'm gonna try and get out of this, and we'll just, because it loads pretty quickly. So I just know that I need to set it. It's having a problem with the voice, like with the mic, and just recognizing the mic, and that's fine. Oh, you know what? That's the one, dude. It's right here. Okay, cool. First of all, I'm gonna close out this stuff. Not Discord. I'm gonna close out. That's right. I remember now. This is Pilot Edge and then settings. That's what I need to do. And then audio, microphone, boom. There it is. Push to talk should be that button right there. I love it. Okay, cool. Excellent. Okay, we're good, guys. We're good. Quick startup. Disconnect from simulator, that's fine. Two runways closed at Portland. Still can't remember this damn airport's name. Why is my brain not working, dude, with this? Oh, construction notice, huh? Interesting. All right, I'm just going to get the airport diagram up here for you guys. Yeah, PDX. Well, I can remember PDX, but it's just weird how sometimes, like, the brain just doesn't, like, allow something in, dude. And it's not locking in. I can't even... Dude, Portland. The name of the airport is Portland. I think I took this pull before. My girlfriend brought over these, like, fruit snacks. I love these fruit snacks that she gets from... I forget where. But they're an assorted box of, like, sharks and dinosaurs. Kind of a dinosaurs person myself, but if you guys had to pick gummies, sharks or dinosaurs? Kick that bad boy back like a shot, dude. Yeah, dude, I'm going dinosaurs as well. I would go dinosaurs because like sharks. My reasoning before was sharks are like modern day dinosaurs, dude. So my favorite dinosaur, man. That's a great question, dude. That's a great question. You know what? I think as I've gotten older, you know, like as a kid, you know, like Velociraptor is super badass or whatever, but I did a elementary school Stegosaurus. I kind of picture you, like, I kind of see you as like a Stegosaurus or a Triceratops guy personally. As a kid, I did a elementary school dinosaur project on the Iguanodon, which is a cutie, dude. That's a cute little guy. He's not little, but I mean, he's definitely cute. Herbivore. And just trying to chill, just trying to mind his own business, dude. And I think that's adorable. And then, but I would say as I grew older, something in the water, dude. Something in the ocean. And you know, as a as somebody that loves Key and Peele, you know, that comedy show, like that comedy duo Key and Peele on Comedy Central, I would say my favorite dinosaur is Jack Marius Tactheratrix. I think that's his name, right? Jack Marius Tactheratrix. Somebody looked at Somebody look that up while I get this thing reset up. Somebody look that up, please, and thank you. What is the it's the East and West like teams, like conferences, rivalry names of like absurd football player names. Fudge. And I want to know that guy's name. It's Jack Marius Tactheratrix, right? Exactly.
One of the funniest.
That's one of the funniest fucking names of all of them, dude. And the way he says it, Jack Marius Tactheratrix. Dude, so damn funny. Hingle McCringleberry. Those super ultimate, like ultra, like white dudes that are like doing the announcing. Hingle McCringleberry. And can we talk about Fudge? Oh, I could talk about Fudge all day long. This guy, he just doesn't know when to, you know, he just, yeah. There's no limit to what Fudge can do. Oh my god. Yeah, Jack Marius Tactheratrix, bro. Like, when I heard that for the first time, pissed myself, dude. You were asking me about favorite dinosaur though, and I would say that, dude, you know, we recently, my girlfriend and I recently took the kids to a museum where they've got a really cool dinosaur exhibit, and they had this. Let me see here. Let me just make sure everything's off. They had this exhibit, dude, where they were looking at the skulls of these, like, or I think they were herbivores, like these plant eating like dinosaurs, but long like tubes, like noses that like looked like a horn, but it came and like went way back here like this. They had like little flat lipped like mouths, and apparently it was like a long nose, or that like a long cavity, like a long nose, like with a raptor, like a narrow cavity that wrapped around it. Big long appendage off the back of their head that went all the way obviously down in the nose as well. And they suspect that it was to be used for kind of rallying the troops, so to speak, or something, or whatever, but they don't really know what it was for. But I mean, they know that it's likely that it made noise, like a trombone is like shaped like that. Dude, it's the coolest thing ever. So whatever that guy is probably one of my favorites. Okay, checklist. So parking brake, generators on, battery, dispatch, right engine, and then N2 above 20.
I noticed that the Certified Flight Instructor are not too
You don't need to concern yourself with.
bad. What happened to those?
You don't need to concern yourself with where my Sour Patch watermelons are.
What happened to those?
I don't see how that's relevant.
I found my Reese's Pieces, no problem.
Okay.
But
I-
can't
I don't-
find Sour Patch watermelons
I'm-
anywhere.
I don't know.
They're not in the pantry. They're not here.
I mean, they could be anywhere, really. I mean, if you think about it. I just don't see how that matters. I don't see how that affects. By the way, I didn't get watermelons. I got Mike and Ike's, but I get what you're saying. Oh my god, you're evil. Does anybody in here like good and plenties? I'm kind of a sweet tooth guy. I try and be good about the candy that I eat. Try not to go too crazy, but are anybody in here like good and plenties? Bleeman says, "Oh, I love those. I'm all about good and plenties."
You're kidding me.
Says Beardsley. My girlfriend says you're kidding me.
You're gross.
She takes issue with it, you guys.
That's what mean
What's
tastes
your-
like.
That's what tastes like?
Mean.
My girlfriend says that's what mean tastes like.
Like
If mean had a flavor, yeah, if mean had a flavor, she said.
it would be good.
What do you guys say to that? What do you guys, how do you respond? You're gonna let her push you around like that? I mean, she's making it personal, you guys. No, I totally, I concur, actually.
With them or with me?
With you, dude. No offense, you guys. Avionics Master is on. Let's see here. My wife hates them, Bleeman says, but she's not a licorice fan, so I'm used to responses like that. She's stuck with me for 45 plus years, so I've adapted. Funny story about that, though, is that black licorice is to take because it can interfere with some medicines. Oh, it can interfere with some medicines? However, it actually helps with cortisol availability, and I suffer from cortisol failure. Oh, interesting. So I am basically programmed to like licorice.
Oh.
Dude, people are interesting, boo. Beardsley, yes, correct. Voodoo is in the... Oh, shit. CD was talking about something else. Dude, Voodoo's in the Reno expansion? You can... I believe it's down here in Chino, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least it was for a short while. Lights on. Let's go lights. Beacon, nav, strobe, taxi.
May I have your attention, please? At this time,
And sounds good, man. Sounds good.
no smoking signs. Thank you.
Lights. Cool. Okay, great. Sounds good, CD. Sounds good, bud. You know what? I need to adjust my thing here. Okay, cool. That's a little bit better. All right, cool, you guys. So let's go through our check. Before starting engines before taxi. Avionics is on. Climate control is set to norm. Passenger lights are on. Trims are set. That one can come up a little bit actually. Flight control is free and correct. Yep. Speed brakes checked. Let's check these bad boys here. Pretty nice. That's your mystery science. What mystery science is that from, Boo? The one that you irrationally don't like? Yeah, dude, like, what? You can't even remember the name. Oh, God. Yes, Mac and me. Wow, look at all these cars. Pretty nice. Ugh. Well, not as a movie. Babe, that... No, you don't understand. You don't understand. Flaps are checked. Hydraulic pressure. We've got, oh. Cool, man. We got a happy battery. We've got DC. I'm actually gonna... I think I'm gonna take this off here. Isn't there like a way... Hold on. Go general options maybe. Graphics. I want to just turn my IR tracker off. Camera maybe. Oh, you know what? I think it's actually in this here. Yeah. There we go. Joey, what's up, dude? What's going on, man? It's all right, dude. We're out here in the working title, man, doing cool things. Do a quick hop over to from Portland, because I remember what the name is. Over to Seattle, and we're just going through our startup here. So the how are you, dude? Good to see you, man. Hydraulic pressure, we're good there. Yeah, this is like way more stable. So engine only, anti-ice, takeoff data. Let's go ahead and put our stuff in here. So first of all, our position initialized right there. Flight plan. We're gonna go KPDX to K. You're good. Watching from the exercise bike, dude. I respect that. That's awesome, dude. Putting those miles in. SEA. Burning them calories. All right, performance data. Let's actually go approach and departure. So we're going to be doing the Portland 2 off of 28 left. Sorry, still nerding out over the P-51s and the Microsoft Flight Sim update. But this plane that they simulated is so crazy. One thing Tiger mentions is how the engine is hard mounted to the airframe. There ain't no rubber in the mounts. It allows the engine to torque over too much, and I'll tell you, you can feel every little pulse of power through that airframe. Good lord, okay. Scary. Let's do 10 right, actually. What are they right now? PDX. They are yeah, so it's the 10s that are going right now. So we'll go 10, it looks like 10 left is 11,000. Let's go 10 left. and then execute and go to the index. We'll do, we'll get the systems off here actually. And then the arrival, we're gonna be doing the Hawk, the Hawk's Zine! Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. ILS 16 right from, what did we say? We said 16 right from, was it Griffey? One six right, ILS 16 right. Yeah, from Griffey. That's right. That's right. Cool. Execute. And then in between, we actually have a leg that is flightplan.com said that we're doing Kuga. Oh, excuse me, wait, so first of all, we need to go back to our arrival. I just love how easy it is to alter our thing here. Hawks. With the, Craig, there we go, Craig transition, there we go, that's way better. Execute, go to the legs here. Before Craig, though, we need, what was it? Kuga. C-O-U-G-A. So, C-O-U-G-A. We're going to put that bad boy right there. And execute. That looks great. That looks great to me. We'll verify the approach later. I just want to get in the air with you guys. Normally I'd brief the approach right here. And, oh, and then flight events. Is fuel burn in these biz jets that low that you can fire both engines up before even setting up the flight plan? I think you do want to set them, ooh, no. You do want to get them both fired up, but yeah, it will, the one will hold the load for sure. So for some reason, it's not tracking where I'm at right now. Oh, that's right, and I think I have to do this here, broadcast. And then there we are right there. Okay, great. Chart right there. Fantastic. There we are on the bottom. Oh, where'd we go? Oh, did we accidentally click off of that? Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry about that. So there we are in the corner right there. And actually, yeah, who cares? I should have gotten us closer to Charlie, but it's all good. Okay, so then the next thing is, and I actually don't have a ton of experience I certainly have no experience in these airplanes in real life, but I haven't really looked at the documents either, like the performance burn or anything, but so tonight's ground school was based on aircraft performance, right? So let's take a look at this performance tab and see how temperature affects, like, for example, those speeds. We talked about how temperature and the surrounding environment actually affects the speed of the different speeds of the airplane. So going to, like, let's say performance, actually, cruise altitude is going to be flight level 200. Let's just say that that's our weight right there. Takeoff. So what is the wind? Well, let's see here. Let's get the ATIS first. 128.35. Flight plan. Oh, tune, that's right. 128.35. 128.35 and COM 2. And then ground is going to be 121.9.
Visibility, none. Sky condition, ceiling 1,700 feet overcast. Temperature, 15. Dew point, 13. Altimeter, 29.902. ILS runway, 28 left and ILS runway, 28 right in use. Landing and departing runway, 28 left and runway, 28 right. Aircra, aircraft, say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller, on initial contact, you have Alpha.
Just going to get the wind here.
Portland Airport information Alpha 17000. Wind 255 at 14. Visibility, none. Sky condition, ceiling 1,700 feet overcast. Temperature, 15.
Okay, cool. So we have 255 at 14.
Altimeter, 29.902. ILS run.
Okay. We'll go to performance, takeoff, and the wind was 255 at 255. That's weird. So, you know, we saw what sometimes this weather is weird, actually. So we'll go on SkyVector. Apparently, the wind right now is 110 at 7. 110 at 7. Boom, wind. Temperature is 13. 13. Altimeter 2992, that's fine. So at 13 Celsius, you know, and we've established that we're going to take off runway 10. It's a 10-degree angle, by the way, right? We looked at the wind correction charts in section 5 of the POH and of the 172 POH, and we saw that there was like a wind correction chart where, I'm sorry, a wind crosswind component chart where we can measure based on the wind speed and direction the angular difference between our departure runway and the and where the wind's coming from. That angular difference, we can actually measure the crosswind component and remain within the demonstrated limits like of the aircraft. But so we have here a 10-degree difference between 10 and 11, right? 13 Celsius. Let's take a look and see what our takeoff numbers look like. So V1 in particular, and V1 in rotate and rotation speed is our speeds that are ground-based speeds that pertain to and V2 as well. Like these are speeds like based on if a engine fails on the takeoff roll. We need to know these speeds. If one of our two engines fails on the takeoff roll, we need to understand like what these speeds are telling us. And what V1 is the speed that if our engine fails below this speed, we do not have enough oomph to carry on and accelerate to rotation speed and to hold V2. We need to abort the landing, power to idle. We need to throw speed brakes on and try and stop the airplane. We will not continue the takeoff roll if we have an engine failure below 93 knots. If it's above 90, if we reach 93 knots or above, we will continue the takeoff roll and accelerate to 96, where we will rotate and hold V2 while we, fly the around to land on single engine. So that rotation speed, based on our weight and based on the temperature outside being 13, we have a rotation speed of 96. Now, if we go back to the performance and we make that hotter, like let's say it's 30 Celsius outside, Let's see how that affects the performance of this aircraft. Right? 93. 93. Let's make it hotter. Hold on. $91. So yeah, that's pretty interesting actually. Why is that? I would think that the speeds would be oh, you know why? Because yeah, this is going to be indicated airspeed. So these are indicated airspeeds, and the fact is as that air is increasing, yeah, that those speeds are actually the difference in speeds are actually increasing. So it's kind of interesting. So yeah, that's actually, yeah, that's interesting. So we send that. Let's go back to, let's see here, takeoff, and we make it, what was it, 13? 13 Celsius. Execute. Next. 96. Send. So we can see here, temperature definitely affects like those speeds. Yeah, 93, 96. Okay, cool. Very, very cool. Very cool. And then we're going to be doing... Oh, we still got to get our clearance, actually. And let's go back to the tune. And we'll go to clearance 120125. 120125 is here. And connected, let's go connect 6863, and it's a 525. I don't think that that's the right designator, but it's all good. I'll change it if they have an issue with it. And then flight plan wise, it's going to be IFR 6863. We are a 525 slant. Actually, it's I want to say it's slant Lima. It's gonna be 430 probably to true airspeed, departing K PDX K SEA. Cruising 2,000 or 20,000, and what was that? That was our YKM. YKM. And then
Kilo contact, Seattle departure.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm gonna turn that down for you.
Contacting departure 10 Kilo.
Here we go. This controller is really nice. Oops. Really nice. Some of them are, you know, custom weather, and sounds good. Save your information.
Departure 10 Kilo 2000 on frequency.
10 Kilo, Seattle departure. Check your transponder should be squawking 3573.
3573 10 Kilo.
And we are on with clearance delivery. So Portland clearance delivery 6863 South Ramp, requesting IFR Seattle.
10 Kilo, your radar contact, climb and maintain 4000.
Climb and maintain 4000 10 Kilo.
6863, Portland clearance, clear to Seattle Tacoma International Airport. Portland 2 departure, Kuga, direct Keurig, Hawk 7 arrival. Maintain 6,000, expect flight level 20010 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 124.35, squawk 2520. Alright, I was issuing someone a clearance and someone just blocked me there. Stand by. 863, did you copy?
6863, I just needed one piece. So it's Seattle, the Portland 2 departure, and then I missed one fix, but it's Kuga, Hawk, the Hawks, and then 6,000, 20010 minutes, 124.35, and then 2520, but missed that one fix.
0863, so it's Portland 2 departure, then it's filed. So it's Kuga, Keurig, Hawk 7 arrival.
Gotcha, as filed, and that's a Keurig Hawk 7 arrival, and then, yeah, the rest, yeah.
0863, leave accurate, thank you.
Thanks for putting that together.
Continue to step away.
Okay, guys, cool, man. So we're good there. And just like that, we've got, let's see here, the ATIS tower is 118.7. .7 right there, and it's going to be 124.35. And ground is 121.9.
For 00 kilo, turn right, heading to...
Oh, that's already in there. Okay, cool. Then in that case, going to...
Right, 240, stand by approach request. 10 Sierra.
ATIS is 118.0. Excellent. Transponder is transponder 2520. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we have our points put in. We also have our takeoff data. Avionics set, autopilot. Let's actually engage, disengage. So, oh yeah, that's actually right here. So autopilot's on, roll and pitch confirmed, default modes, autopilot off, and command bars are right there. 6,000 is on the altimeter. And then runway heading is going to be for 10 right. Oh, did we say 10 right or 10 left down here? We said 10 left. Let's change that to 10 right. There we go. Kuga and then Craig. Good. Okay, great. So the altimeter is set. Pressurization set. Good there. Taxi exterior lights on. Brakes, parking brake, nose wheel, steering, and then flight instruments. Ice protection, seats, flaps. Speed brakes are 0, trimmed. Crew briefing. Go around button. Go around is oh yeah, go around. Oh, 510 Charlie Mike, that's right. Where again, go toga, right? Is the toga somewhere on here? Autopilot. Pause. I forget where the toga button was, but yeah, vertical speed. Actually, we're gonna go flight level.
Autopilot.
Okay. Yeah, where the hell is the go around? I feel like it was on the... No? You guys know where the go around button is? CJ4 is such a joy, by far the best plane in the sim. Yeah, dude, I'm with you on that, but the go around button, right? Where is this thing? Ice protection we're gonna save. I forget where the go around is. Because I want to bring those command bars up, you know? I think it was here, right? Yeah, baby, right there. All right, cool. And then we're on with ground. I don't know if they've updated it, but a few versions ago, I think they did the toga on the button below the engine. Yeah, exactly. Nice. And then we'll call it Portland ground. Portland ground 6863, south ramp, requesting 10 left with Zulu. Or, excuse me, 10 right. Whoa. Bummer, dude. For some reason, it's not connecting. So you know what? It's getting late, so I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go. Sorry, sir. We're gonna have to cut this guy in half. Sorry, guy. That's okay. We got our clearance and all good. Emergency lights not armed. Yeah, it is a really good airplane though, you're right. It's a really good looking airplane too. The fuel, yeah, we should be good on fuel. Let's go actually 3/4 tank. Yeah, it does look really nice. It's super cool. I think it also flies really well too. Sometimes like the models, like the flight models for these aircraft can be kind of shaky. But this hand flying this actually feels pretty nice, I'd say. All right, cleared across. right there. Cool. That's a shame, dude. I think I needed to update my Pilot Edge. It asked me to update it, and I was like, no, it's cool. Like, I'll update it later. I didn't want it to cause more problems, and now it's going to take some time to now you got to, like, reinstall the thing. And so, are you allowed to have the strobes on taxiway? I mean, is there like am I not supposed to? Is that like a no-no for? I don't really fly. I fly more. CD, what's going on? I mostly fly GA. I don't really fly the jets that often. I don't know if there's any rule against that. I know that Huxley, what's going on? I know that if it's IMC or if it's like nighttime, they don't want. It's not good to be like blinding people. So, you would have your strobes not on.
Approaching runway 10 right.
Okay, and then we're going to go heading indicator set for 10. What's that? 103. And 6863 holding short 10 right, Charlie 1. For the departure. And let's go ahead and get our procedure out, actually. Joseph A20N, thank you for the follow. Welcome. All right, and then we're clear. So our departure notes here for 10, let's see here. Yeah, the initial climb for 10 right is a runway heading of 500, and then climb on a heading for radar vectors to the fix. So basically just a straight out and then clear to the fix. Let's do it. Clear for takeoff 6863. And clear final.
Runway 10 right.
Flaps are set for flaps are set for takeoff.
Right. 10,900 feet remaining.
Oh, and then let's see. Let's get on the center line, and then we'll set our reference, our altitude. Normally, I'm not this rushed, but altitude is. I thought we actually set this already. 6,000. 6,000, and then heading mode. We'll do a flight level change climb, and looks good to me, man. Let's do it. Two good engines. Speed's alive. V1. Rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Flaps up. Autopilot on, flight level change. Whoa, wait. There we go. Dial that power back a little bit. There we go. There we go. It's holding. And then over to departure 6863. Departure control 6863 is 4,000 for 6,000. 6863 climbing let's give it 13,000. 6863. Okay. And we are cleared to Kuga 6863. We're going to go direct, Kuga, execute, and then go in nav mode. Six 6863, climb and maintain 2000, or flight level 200. And we're gonna go flight level change to, let's go 200 knots. Nice, coming out of a cool layer right there. Beautiful. Gotta love that, dude. Microsoft Flight Sim, definitely the most beautiful looking sim out there for sure. Look at these clouds, man. Look at the tops of these clouds. Totally look real, dude. Let's do that climb check. Speed is good. Systems. We've got, yeah, 2 good engines. Pressure, temperature is good. Fuel is good. We're trimmed flaps. Battery's happy. Oxygen is good. Hydraulics. Fuel flow is good. And gear is up. Let's go do our check. Takeoff, good. After takeoff, landing gear, flaps, throttles, yaw damper, autopilot, ice, passengers, landing lights, pressurization, altimeters for the flight levels, and cruise climb check complete, cruise to go. We are 150 for 200, or 15000 I should say for 200.
Destination ATIS is 118.
We got Kuga right here. Cool, we'll come back to our checklist here in a second. And actually, I like to make this lower one. I like to make that my position right there. And then we'll go range out.
Climbing through transition altitude.
Nice. I would think zoom, right? No?
Altitude.
Okay. So we're rounding out here at 20,000. Systems are still good. Cruise check complete. Let's try and get that ATIS. We were talking in our performance lecture about the difference between indicated and true. The higher we go, we're out here in 20,000 feet up, and look at, we're doing 260, coming up on 270 indicated, but we're doing almost 400. We're doing 260 true right now and climbing. So you can see here, remember, 2% for every 1,000 feet up, 2% difference. I'm bring this really close to this red line here. So we discussed why that is, that the pitot tubes, you know, like with the pitot tubes, they measure air, right? They measure air molecules, and so with the thinning of the air as a result of going higher and higher, oh, we gotta stay away from that red line. There we go. There we go. If we don't break out here soon, I'll there's the, oh, we're right near the tops. I think the engines look really cool. We're right at the top, so let's see here. Top is... There we go. It's pretty cool. And actually, let's make it broken. That's so crazy, dude. That's so wild. And you know, actually that should be... Yeah, a little more coverage there, and like that top layer. Like broken top, you know, but then this one, the one below it, is like more covered. Pretty. Okay, so we're coming up on Craig already, you guys. So let's go to the procedure and actually brief our star, our arrival. We're gonna go here to the map. And Seattle, procedures, arrival, the Hawk. There we are. So descending here, let's actually go into the cockpit and go VNav. Actually, what is our altitude? And we are Craig right now, I believe, correct? Yeah, we're Craig. So at Craig, we can be at, let's go down to 12,000. Cool. And we'll do VNav. Awesome, awesome. So basically we need to be at or above 12,000 by Hawk, and looks like a 270 knot speed restriction, and then we'll be going around to Vashon, I believe, and then from Vashon we'll be headings to the final approach course. Right, if you're landing 16 right, line, pikes, Kofe, Brev, K West, Vashon, and then radar vectors, RNAV ILS. So yeah, after we're just going to be making we're going to be in compliance with this descent profile on this star. Headed out to Craig, and then from Craig to Hawks, line, pikes, and then Kofe. So I'm going to actually start working my way down right now. Vertical speed. Just pretty gradually, like down to altitude reference there of like 120. And then we'll be all set.
Seattle Airport information, India 17000. Wind 255.
Awesome. Okay, so we're getting the weather. We have the weather.
Sky condition, ceiling 700.
And looking at the approach, we want to make sure that our 5As are done for the approach, right? So we've got the ATIS, we have the altimeter setting, approach briefing. It's going to be, let's actually expand this. ILS runway 16 right into Seattle. Frequencies are right there. It's going to be on one. Let's see here. Approach is 13365. .65. That's going to be that right there. I'm actually going to switch that in right now, and I'm going to say Seattle approach 6863 is flight level 190, descending 2000 on the Hawks for the ILS 16 right. I'm going to say 6863. Roger, descend via the Hawks, and then that's our altitude at our discretion, 6863. So we're coming down here, we're 180 for 120. I've got 12 miles to Hawks. And then, yeah, so missed approach. So yeah, 110.75 is going to be our nav 1. 110.75, nav 1. I'm going to go heading bug set, because then I'm going to go switch this nav mode right now. VOR 1 is going to be final approach course is 164. Oh, what am I doing? I'm supposed to be over here. 164. Awesome, awesome. And then cool. 6 miles to Hawks. And then VNAV.
Transition altitude. Nearest altimeter, 3020.
Okay, notable terrain. Oh yeah, and so it's going to be glide slope intercept at Finca 1900 on the ILS to a DA of 615 on the altimeter, 200 above the ground. Touchdown zone elevation is 415. MSA is right there. Missed approach is a climb to 900, climbing on heading 195 outbound on the on the 210 Seal Beach or Seattle VOR. Crossing Techie or Tessie, 3 at or below 2,000, then climb to 5,000 outbound on the Seattle 210 radial to Zurley, 15 DME Seattle, and hold. Continue to climb in the hold to 5,000. DME required. Simultaneous approach authorized. Let's see here. Simultaneous operations require use of vertical guidance. Maintain last assigned altitude. Cool. So we'll be coming around. Oh. Yeah, we're gonna go get. We accidentally went through line. My bad. Okay, and we're stepping down. Zicro 7, Civic 6, and let's see, we're actually supposed to be a lot lower right now. 1800 RVR. It's an ALSIF 2 type with a PAPI off to the right. And I'm going to go back to our SID, or a STAR rather. Yeah, we should be a lot lower. So we have an altitude restriction. We're coming up to Foot. Oh no, excuse me. Pikes. And that is between 15 and 12,000. So we're actually good. But good thing we caught that. So we're over here. Yeah, Pikes coming up. And then should be a left turn to Kofe. And then it's 10,000 at Brev. Start slowing down. How different is the difficulty in different IFR flight plans? This is easy because it's mostly straight. Well, it's actually easy not because it's straight. It's easy because it's GPS and you can just go point to point. When you're GA is more challenging in a lot of ways. It's obviously it's less technical because you're, you know, it's a highly sophisticated airplane or whatever. But the thing is you're let's go down to 10. When you do GA, you know, you're using, especially if you're not really doing GPS stuff, like you're using VORs and you're using like, you know, you're tracking like, you know, radials or courses, and you're bringing in cross bearings like, or cross radials to identify fixes, you know, that beyond that point, you know, you got altitude restrictions, and you're just making sure that you're you know, on top of those VORs to identify those points. It's easier with this because it's just GPS points, you know, so you still have altitude restrictions. Like right here, you can see in the chart, we're coming down to Kofe is next. And got the Brev on the other side of Kofe up in the top there. It's at 11 and 10,000. So we're just going point to point right now, GPS, to make sure we're compliant. Whereas with the additional workload of VORs, different types of IFR flying, you know, it can be a little more challenging. But honestly, with this, as long as you're just on top of your altitude and speed restrictions, it's all good. It's not that bad. I think the other thing too, in terms of different types of IFR flying and complexity, you know, back to your question, is like these the jets and stuff and the turboprops. When you're talking about serious distances, you're working in added complexity to the IFR flight plan, where it's like, you know, you're descending out of the flight levels on an arrival, versus when you're on a more local, small scale type IFR operation. Typically, you're doing a departure procedure, and you're rarely doing stars. You're rarely doing arrivals. You're typically taking either airways or headings to the approach. And you're just getting on the approach, and you might be getting on the approach a bit far out, but you're not doing an arrival. It's just not necessary, because like, see right here, we climbed out to like a crazy, but not a crazy high altitude, but to a fairly high altitude, and you know, we had to stepwise work our way down. Like right now, until we pass Breve, we're not allowed to go below 10,000 feet. You can see right there on the chart. And it's just managing those step down altitudes, like as you step down on that arrival and you're cleared via, and it's like, you know, your own, red line. As you're cleared via, you know, to descend via, you know, you gotta manage that. So, whereas little GA airplanes, you're just like up at your cruise altitude, and then you're just briefing your approach, and you do the approach, you know. But in GA, you're also a lot tighter. It's a lot closer together. It's a really, really quick paced. So make no mistake about it. It is complex and it is difficult, but it is different. So what do we have here? We got nets, and then yeah, we're basically at the airport. So we got nets, and right now we actually have, we can go down to 8. Let's see what the VNav. Yeah, VNav is taking us down to 8. Very good. Nets, and then K West, or Quest, I guess. And then Vashon. 6,000 mandatory at Vashon. But you got 7 at Quest, so at or above 8 at Nets, and then 7 at Quest. Stay away from that red line.
Altitude.
Down to 7 at Quest. It's also interesting, like how highly automated these systems are, and everybody knows that. But I just think it's an interesting. Yeah, Chris Steve, that's actually exactly what happened right here. We were at flight level 200 for like just a few minutes. Oh, dude, shit's tripping. Hold on. We need to go, for some reason... You guys see that red line just jump? I wonder if that was the weather, like, issue that Microsoft Flight Sim has had for some time now. Alright, so it's 7,000 and then 6,000 mandatory.
Altitude.
And then we're on the approach. So let's go over to the approach, the ILS, and then we'll be there. Cool, we'll be given headings. Let's actually go down to 3,200. No, let's go down to 2,000. Alright, descent check is complete. Tower frequency is 12095. On standby. We have the ILS ready to go. That should be approach course of 164. Good, that's ready to go. Very good, very good. And vertical speed down to 2,000. Alright, approach briefing is complete, and we have the ILS identified, we've got Seattle identified, and these DMEs are going to be based on Seattle. And let's see here, I want to say... Oh, yeah. That's right. So let's go here, actually. Let's go performance and approach, wind. Let's just say that it's 170 at 6, and outside air is 10. And next, let's go ahead and send those V speeds over. 5,000 for 2,000. Speed red line dropped because you descended past 8,000. I don't remember the specifics of why. Oh, dude, trippy. Okay. Yeah, that was really abrupt, too. And then we'll go legs, and then it's going to be direct to, actually, it's going to be Bugny. Let's go direct Bugny. Direct Bugny, execute, and we're just going to continue down. And we're out here at CLAC, so that actually is that we need to hold our altitude right there, actually. Alright guys, so we're over here coming into Bugny. And we're going to hang out at this altitude right here for CLAC. I'm going to try, I'm going to go Bugny again. And alright, cool. So, whoa, how trippy. That looks beautiful. CLAC Bugny. So that's gonna be 32. So we're at a decent altitude. And what I'm gonna do now is bring in the, I'm gonna fly this heading. I'm gonna fly that heading bug right there. Put it in heading mode. MMO above 27 feet, Mach 0.77 MO. Alright, so I'm going to fly that. I'm going to go nav, and we're on that nice 45 for the intercept. And then I'm going to go approach mode. And that should be coming in any second now. Approach mode is locked. Oops. Slow this thing down. We're going to go get that glide slope. Over to tower. Seattle Towers 6863, ILS 16 right, full stop. Now the trick is going to be slowing this airplane down somehow on this descent. We're coming up to what, Finca glide slope intercept. We're gradually slowing down. I've definitely flown an IMC that looks like this, where you like pretty close to the ground, and I think the lowest IMC I've ever been in is like 600. Kind of crazy. Let's see here, maximum gear. Almost there for the gear. Okay, gear down. And approach flaps.
Mile final runway 16 right.
Alright, I have the runway. And I'm going to go autopilot off.
Autopilot.
Gear down 3 green. Full flaps.
500.
So weird. I wonder if there's like wind or something. A little bit high on that glide slope. Whoa, this needs more trim. So we got that approach speed nailed right there. And a little bit below glide slope, all good. There's that crazy instrument approach light type right there, that ALSIF. Okay, power idle. Nice. Such a weird vantage point. It looks like I'm like sideways or something. Whoa. Nice. Off at Papa looks like the next one. Presidential, dude. Thank you, brother. And we're gonna call it here, you guys. It's been a long day, long night. Bam. You guys are great. Hey, thank you guys for joining me tonight and talking about performance and looking at some cool performance characteristics of the Citation. And tune in tomorrow. I'm going to shoot for 8 p.m., something like around there. I know we started a little bit early today, but my week's kind of been a little weird, so I'll have to see. Actually, yeah, stand by. I'm actually going to have to update my schedule tomorrow and see how it goes, but it's either going to be tomorrow or Friday. Maybe Friday afternoon, actually, instead. So stand by for that. Actually, more likely that Friday afternoon. Yeah, you guys, thank you so much. CD, do you have a few free minutes to discuss something on Discord after your stream is over? Dude, I actually do have to go, unfortunately, CD. But I'll be, you know what I can do is you can text me. Oh, it's not urgent? Okay, because otherwise I can, you know, I can give you my number if you need to text me or something, but otherwise, you know, you could like direct message me maybe on Discord and just see, but if it's probably like involved, you know, maybe let's connect on Discord, just like the text back and forth, and I'll send you maybe my number. Maybe we can just talk on the phone or something, if that works for you. Presidential, thanks a lot, man. Take it easy. Space with the sub, thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate it. I expect it'll be about a 5-minute conversation we can do via Discord. Awesome, dude. Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thanks again. I'll hit you up on Discord and should be able to just have a quick conversation tomorrow, man. Have a great night, guys. See ya.